everybody. Welcome to another sensational session of Strike a Chord Live podcast with my dear brother, Collin Harbour. He's right there in Dallas, Fort Worth, Texas. I'm Marcus Ellis. I'm here in Pensacola, Florida. Collin, why don't you tell him who we are?
We are two lifelong friends with a love of baseball, music, motivation, and inspiration mixed with a little bit of nostalgia, culture, transformation, and fun. And we want you to take the journey with us.
This is Strike a Chord Live podcast.
Marcus, I kind of heard the wobbly record sound on that one, you know?
Yeah, I don't think the fine folks out there did, but it does for us sound like a broken merry-go-round. It's just this twisted, broken merry-go-round, with the horses.
It's weird. I don't know why it does that. I do not know. I wish I knew.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to another sensational session of Strike a Chord Live podcast. Today is June 14th, 2023. And first, before we get started, we want to thank each and every one of you for being on live right now, for watching, for listening, and of course, all of you guys, as the kids call it on the hashtag replay. We love you. We appreciate you guys. We have a very incredible special session for you today. We have my dear sister, Shariah, and my dear brother, Ryan Little. They are here. Man, they've got an incredible story. How we met is pretty cool as well, because we met on Facebook. Now we're lifelong friends. So, Collin, man, what's going on in DFW? And then we'll get into the meat of the program.
Well, it is... it's going on. I know that. It's actually cool here, for summer. We've lost Mark. He has frozen up, but it's cool here. It is cool here. It's like, I don't know, it's like in the 80s or something. It feels like it's winter almost. And, which is a little bit odd for the second week of June. Just got a little bit of trying to get in the summer. My youngest daughter's had strep throat. We played in a soccer tournament and then she got sick again. So I don't know that we should have put her in the soccer tournament, but anyway, so that's what we're dealing with.
Well, that sounds like a typical parental unit type thing. So, well, let's get into it. Ryan, Shariah, good morning. Good to see you guys. Love you guys. What's going on today?
Good morning. Love you. Thanks for having us on. Excited to be here.
Man, this is going to be really cool. So we met because you posted something on Facebook and I just happened to see it. And God put it on my heart to reach out to you and we had breakfast and now we're lifelong friends, right?
Love it. Yep. Met on Facebook. I was looking for work and we had just moved into Pensacola area and I was just posting away trying to find some work and you popped up.
Well, that's awesome. Well, we'll get to that. So you guys have an incredible story. We had breakfast one day and you showed me pictures and told me about it. But instead of me telling it, Collin, I think it would just be better for Shariah and Ryan to tell their story. It's incredibly inspirational. So go from wherever you guys want to start and we'll get into the meat of it.
All right. I don't know. I'll kind of start back where we met, I guess, and then just kind of work up from there. But we met in probably 1997. Yeah. Probably like March or something like that. Just met through friends or whatever. At that point, I was already addicted to drugs. She did not know, but I was pretty heavy into cocaine and stuff like that. And she didn't know. I met her. We got together. We were together for quite a few months. And then I came to her and was like, I need help. So she helped me. I was clean for about 10 years. 10 years clean from drugs, I would say. I was still drinking occasionally. 10 years later, the drinking picked up a lot. I lost a job, started drinking every day. We were drinking together every single day. Before too long, I started using drugs again behind her back. She started to catch on, but I wasn't really listening and stuff like this. And like probably the worst thing that could ever happen was like she didn't want to lose me. And she couldn't really get through to me at the time. So she started joining me, which, led our life down a very bad path for quite a while.
Well, let me stop you right there. Man, talk about influence. she's trying to get you to a better place, but then your influence was so strong that you dragged both of you down, right?
Yeah.
Well, keep going.
Yeah, it was horrible. So where did it go from there? We ended up being homeless for the first time at that point. We moved into hotels, living in Motel 6s. I mean, just like bad places where like just people like us were living. No good influences, nothing. We had, at this point we had kids. We had 3 kids living in a motel, doing drugs. When the drugs would run out, we would drink until we could fall asleep, and then just repeat that cycle over and over and over again.
How many kids do you have?
We have 5 now, but we had 3 at that point. So as time went on, we were back and forth from homelessness and stuff, mostly homeless for a while. And then we got the Catholic Community Services stepped us and gave us a home. And we were living in this home for a year, rent-free, which was not a blessing. I mean, if someone gives a drug addict and an alcoholic a home for free for a year, all they're going to do is drink and do drugs because they have no responsibilities.
Wow.
And so that year led us, there's my son, Grady, our oldest child. Good morning.
Good morning.
Anyway, so where was I?
The responsibility, lack of responsibility, free home.
Yep. Yeah. After that year, towards the end of that year, both of us ended up in jail. We were losing our free home because the year was up. We had nothing really going for us. And the jail, I think, is what really scared us straight. On top of it, we had just found out we were having twins and stuff. And we had the twins when we lived there. Wow. And they were our 4th and 5th kid. And we were like, man, we need to turn it around here and now. Even though we were on our way to being homeless and there was nothing we could do to stop that, we decided to quit drinking, quit doing drugs, and that's when I started my business. As we were getting evicted and everything, we were living in a tent. I've showed you the pictures.
Yeah.
I mean, that was our home, and we had to move that home every 2 weeks, and it was horrible because you could only stay in one spot for 2 weeks before the Rangers come around and tell you, go find another campground. Yeah. And so we were going back and forth for 2 weeks. For months, but we were staying clean. We were off of drugs. We were off of alcohol, and we were just work. Yeah. I would go to work every day. She would take care of the kids. We didn't have a car. My father-in-law would come pick me up at the campsite, drive me to work, drop me off, come pick me up at the end of the day, drive me back to the campsite. It was things like that. And then eventually that led to, I had a client that put us up in a house, and we ended up staying there for about 4 years, and that led to us buying a home. Then we sold that home, moved down here to Florida, and bought this home. So we are almost to 10 years drug and alcohol free. Wouldn't go back for anything. There's no chance of ever going back again. Life is too good on this side.
Yeah. Wow. Well, Collin, I've seen pictures of the littles in their tent with their children. It was 5 kids. Now you had your kids staying other places at times when you were living in the tent, correct?
3 of them were with us, but the young ones, the 2 boys, they were months old. I mean, they were babies. So we let them go stay with their grandparents at the time. Yeah.
Wow.
So that lasted about 3 or 4 months. And then that's when we got the house and we were all back together again.
So I heard a number of, so this is the first time I've heard the entire story, right? I know Mark knows the story, and I know we talked a little bit about some stuff beforehand. We actually ended up talking more about business than anything, but I hear some different themes in there. I hear some themes of redemption. I hear some themes of falling, right? I mean, when we talk about addiction and you were not doing whatever it was, it could be anything, right? In your case, it was certain things, but it could be anything for anybody for several years. And then you fell back into it, right? For whatever the trigger was. Right. I also heard a theme of charity and generosity. You know, there was a charity that provides homes apparently. And then there's, you know, this dilemma, right? And I've seen this before. And I'm not trying to take over the conversation here, just very quickly. You know, you have this charity giving a house with no home payment, right? No mortgage payment or no rent payment. And then, you know, like you said, that's probably one of the worst things that could happen. But, you know, charity responsibility isn't to manage your everyday life, right? They're to provide whatever their mission is. I remember I was at a church here in Dallas once, and the pastor said, I hear so many people saying they're not going to give money to the people on the streets because they don't know what they're going to do with the money. They're just going to go buy drugs, or they're just going to do this. And this was at a very wealthy downtown Dallas church. And he said, you know what? That's not your concern. Your concern is to give, is to provide, is to be charitable. What they do with it, you can't control that, right?
Right.
So there's all these different themes going on here that I think are really interesting.
Well, and I love that you brought that up, Collin, because the theme that I'm getting is just perseverance. Just
perseverance is another theme. Absolutely. Yeah.
Just straight up grinding by these two. I mean, I've been through addiction. I've not been shy about saying that, and I still struggle with it to this day. I know you guys still struggle with it to this day. Like you say, you're never going back, but it's always there, right?
It's always a battle. I mean, if you don't keep doing what you're supposed to, you can easily fall back into that.
Yeah.
But there's more things to be addicted to than drugs and alcohol.
Right.
Nicotine. There are people who are highly addicted to nicotine because of the way that we allowed the nicotine companies to target kids when we were younger, and still even, right? There are people who are highly addicted to a number of things. So it
you can be even something so benign as social media, Collin. I mean, people are
social media. There are people who can't get off social media, who can't get off Netflix. And I know it sounds silly to some people, but it's true.
Yeah,
it is true. And the reason we're shining a spotlight on addiction is because there's going to be so many people out there, Shirai and Ryan, that are listening to this or watching this going, that's me. That's where I am, or that's what I went through. And your story is simply amazing. Your story is shining a light on somebody's path that they can get through this. They can overcome this. So it's inspirational. So let's talk about, so you've been down the addiction road. You've been homeless. You've been homeless with children in a tent, which I can't imagine. And you still persevered. You still pushed through. And now you're running a thriving business in Pensacola that we're going to talk about. But how did you get from Seattle area, Washington State? How did you get from Washington State to get down to Pensacola? Because my dear brother, Ryan Gallagher, who's on here, that's my business partner in real estate, it was just a prayer or a whim that he moved from Philly area to the Tampa area. What happened in your life to bring you to such a beautiful place? But man, it's so far removed from Washington. I can't imagine how you got here. How did that happen?
Mm-hmm.
Like, we had never even been here before. The first time we came here was when we were pulling into our house. Like, we bought the house unseen. I mean, our realtor came and sent us videos and pictures, but we had never been to this area. The only part of Florida we had ever been to is Miami Beach. We went there for our 20-year wedding anniversary the previous year. And we loved the weather, and we loved the sunshine. And like, we already knew we were leaving Washington just because it wasn't the state that we wanted to raise our families in. So we wanted to leave there. We were trying to decide between like Idaho, Arizona, Florida was something I was throwing out there a bunch just because I love Florida. I love the sunshine. It looked great. She was like, it's too far from family, this and that. Finally, I was like, if we're 3 hours away or 10 hours away, it really doesn't matter. Like, we're far away.
Right.
So we kind of just looked on the map and picked an area. I mean, it was pretty random. We were looking in multiple different areas in Florida, but this is where we found the house with everything we wanted, and it was within a reach of Mobile, Pensacola. And so that's kind of how we fell on this place. I really feel that God brought us here.
I was going to ask you that.
It's hard to really pinpoint it, which is the weird thing. Like, we knew we wanted to leave Washington, but before you know it, all of a sudden we're living in McDavid, Florida, just under Alabama. Like nothing I would ever imagine.
No.
Right. Well, and the weird thing about it is that McDavid, I mean, people don't realize McDavid and Bogie, they don't understand where that is in Pensacola. But the weird thing is that's where my family's from.
Right.
Most
people don't.
Right. I mean, we're Creek Indians. That's where my dad's side of the family from is McDavid and Bogie.
Yeah.
So how crazy that, I mean, talk about remote. I mean, that is not Pensacola, folks. I mean, you can say Cantonment is Pensacola, but it's not. And so I was going to ask you, do you think you answered my question before I said it was a God thing? Absolutely. And my dear sister, Alicia Tappan, who's been a guest on here many times and will be a guest many times more, she says Pensacola has a way of bringing people together for God. And that's the truth, Collin. It's like I have this thing on my heart to create this syndicate. I don't know why that word is in the syndicate of Jesus lovers, of all these family and friends getting everybody together and doing something amazing. And Alicia's part of that, and Collin and Ryan and Sarai, you guys are a part of that. But Collin, I mean, you lived here. Your dad was a pastor here of the largest church in Pensacola at the time. It's got to be inspirational to you to hear this story about somebody being in Washington State being drawn to this area to do good.
Yeah, no doubt. And we talk about being drawn to things. Some people call things coincidences. Some people just say, it's this mystic spirit throughout the universe. Obviously, we believe differently, right? We believe you're drawn to things for a reason by God, by the creator. So it is exciting. It's exciting that you're in Pensacola. It's exciting that Mark Ellis. I've known Mark Ellis since like 1978 ish or 77.
It is. I think he is the very first person and friend that I made down here.
Yeah.
Did he tell you he loved you?
Number one.
He
He
did.
did. I think it was one of the first things he told me. So I was like,
Okay. All right.
My kind of guy.
Well, and that's the cool thing about it too, because in prayer, I will, and once again, I'm not tooting my horn. This is just what works for me. In prayer, I ask God to show me who to serve every day. And I have a discerning heart. I'm very judgmental, and I pray for that to be relieved as well. But man, when I saw you pop up, it was like, that's the one today. And now here we are. We have this beautiful history, and I'm going to do this. I'm going to put up some cool little things that Ryan sent me. And I know I'm kind of blocking out my mic here, but
that's all right. And while you do that, so this is stuff about Ryan's business there in the Pensacola area. What I wanted to go back to for a minute is a little bit the theme of perseverance. And a lot of people, we talked about addiction or whatever challenges people may have. A lot of people don't end up in prison, right? They don't have this slap in the face, right, of going to jail or whatever the case may be, but they still need to get out of a situation. They still need to persevere through a situation or take a new direction, right? Whatever there's so many different scenarios. How do you persevere? How do you take a challenge and move forward, right? How do you do it? How did you do it? I know we talked a little bit about it, but did you just wake up one day and say, this is it? Was it a slow crawl? Was it, how did it, well, it's probably a slow crawl over several years, but at some point you said, you two said, we're going to change our life.
Yeah.
I think it was combination of jail, because once we had been to jail and stuff, and the combination of jail and the thought of losing this person and losing my kids, like, I think that was the stuff that really pulled it together for us. We knew that this group, this unit, we wanted to keep together more than anything. And I think now that we're on the other side of it, like, we have an extremely strong bond, this family.
Yeah, all of us.
We're very, very close.
Yeah. I mean, you went through some different challenges, right? And there are a lot of people like that who, whether it's death in the family, death of a child, overcoming addiction, overcoming a downward spiral in life, right? You do have a different bond, right? Different bond.
Yep.
packing up your family and saying, hey, we're headed across the country to another area, sight unseen, it sounds like. I didn't realize that. And we're going, you know.
Well, you know, there's another story like that, you know, where this guy Abraham, that God said, go here, and he just went, right? And you didn't know
named Abraham. Yeah, just a guy named Abraham.
Just a guy.
Just a guy.
This reminds me of so many other stories, Collin, and I love what you're talking about, the redemption side of it and the cause and effect. And Ryan, I can tell that it's very emotional for you. Like when you think about, and if I think about losing my wife, I'll get emotional. When you think about the consequences of your decisions, and then it's all on you, and you're like, I did this. Really, I think the only thing you could do is get on your knees and pray and say, God, get me out of this, right? Because you've hit rock bottom. You're in prison. You're in jail. You can't get any lower than that, being incarcerated. You're separated from your wife. You're separated from your kids. What is the next step?
Right.
Right. Yep. We got out of jail, and I think like it was almost immediate. I mean, there wasn't like you said, a slow crawl or anything. I mean, it was pretty, went from drinking and doing drugs heavily to now I'm in jail. Now I'm out of jail, and I don't ever want this to happen again. And I don't want to lose my wife and my kids. I mean, it was pretty cold turkey as far as quitting. That time, I'm done.
Yep.
It was just the fear of losing my family was enough. Like I guess I never really had it up to that point, but that I was like, I feel like we're on the doorstep of that, unless something changes. So and I mean, the story I've told you is just a small bit that we can fit into 30 minutes. I mean, there's a whole lot to the story, but hopefully one day we can write a book and really share the whole story.
Well,
it sounds like oh, go ahead, Mark. Go ahead. Marky. No, you're up.
Well, I was going to say, it sounds like, that this right here, we've been talking about you guys coming on for a while, and it's not easy for you guys to do this, right? But you've taken the first step now to telling your story. Now, so there is a book in the works. You guys are going to be speaking on stages. You're going to be motivational speakers, and the landscaping and contractor business is going to be secondary, because this story, it's going to be, God is putting this out there, guys, to inspire and help other people. And in turn, you're going to be rewarded for that. And I'm just speaking this into existence. So it's now time for you to start going, okay, we're going to be speaking on stages. We're going to be writing books. We got to pull ourselves up by our bootstraps and get over whatever it is that's holding us back from this, because I truly believe that why this happened and why you're here is to tell your story, to inspire and help other people. And the landscaping and contractor business is just going to be secondary.
I can get behind that.
Yeah.
And I really appreciate you sticking with me and being patient and then making sure this happened, because I really didn't need to do this.
Well, and I think, Collin, I want to let you talk, but when you get in this space, because Collin and I have been doing this for 2 years, and it wasn't easy. It was based on a prayer download that I got. And then he called me after we hadn't talked for 33 years and said, let's do this. And we're doing it. It gets easier. The more you do this stuff, and there's people like Summer Star is commenting. She said, I can't wait to hug you guys and meet. She lives in Cantonment. She's not far from you guys. And so it's, like I said, it's building this syndicate of people to embrace each other, but it's not only to lift each other up, but it's also to not save the world, but make an impact on the world.
Right.
Right.
Yep. I love that.
So sorry, Collin.
No, that's fine. What I was thinking is you're speaking a lot of things into existence for people, but you haven't spoken $5 million into my bank account yet. Hopefully that will come soon.
Well, we were talking,
Ryan, I know that you've
business this morning. So
Ryan, I know that you've you've listened to our podcast and commented and all that. So it's nice to meet you. And I hadn't heard the full story. I just knew you moved from Washington, Pensacola, had a landscaping business. I didn't even know there was just a little painting. So there's more things. But I do think
that we just launched. Just a little painting is fresh out the works. So we're just launching.
Okay, so this is a brand new. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Brand new. Just a little using the name I like that, using your name as part of the theme. But, this is a powerful story. There's no doubt. And, when I mentioned people in addictions, like I said, I mean, nicotine comes in and out of my life all the time. And it's not like, it's not cocaine. I get it, but it's still powerful. It's still annoying. It's still a waste of money. It's still defeat whenever you fall back. I can't ever remember if it's off the wagon or on the wagon, but it's the story of this repetitive story, doing things over and over again.
Right.
And that's what addiction is about for people. So whether it's cocaine, whether it's social media, whether it's nicotine, whether it's alcohol, there is this perseverance. And but it sounds like ultimately to me, maybe you were scared a little straight the last time in jail, or if that was your only time in jail, I don't know, but it's still a decision. It's still a decision, right? It's still, I am going to decide today, cold turkey, in your case, we're out of here. I'm turning my life around. I mean, that's an amazing story.
Yep.
Well, and something that I hear you say, Collin, too, that I want to bring up a point, since we're talking about addiction, whether that be cigarettes or porn, whether that be social media or crystal meth, the addiction is you're putting something above God, whatever that is. You're putting something above your family, above yourself, above God, right? And so for anybody out there that is struggling with these things, I just want to tell you that whatever that thing is that you can't stop doing, mine's caffeine. I'm drinking a Red Bull right now. You're putting that above your faith, your spiritual faith, above your family. And so we just want to say, we don't have the answers. We don't have it all figured out. We still struggle with the addiction, but who does is the big man upstairs in Jesus Christ himself. So this is what we want to say to you, is that whatever that thing is, whatever is taking up your time, whatever is breaking your conduit between you and God, it's time to pray about it and stop, right? Amen. And you guys have done that. We've talked about your faith. We've gotten into that in depth when we were hanging out together. But I mean, not only do you have the business, and I want to make sure in the last few minutes we have that we promote your business, but you still have your businesses in Washington State. Is that correct?
Yes. That one is still going. Yeah.
So you're running, what is that, a construction business?
Yeah, general contracting. So they do home remodeling, also maintenance, things like that. So pretty much everything. So these guys, the inside to the outside.
Yeah, these guys not only, Collin, left Washington State, but they kept their business going. Their kids over there are still running their business. Their family over there is still running their business. They moved to Pensacola without a lot of money, only a little bit of direction and hope. And then they've started this business here, which is the Little Family Landscaping. And you can see it there. You can reach out to Ryan or Shariah at 850-791-9645. These guys do it all. They came by my house, gave me a beautiful quote on getting a bunch of trees and things out of my yard so they can help you. It's whatever you can throw at them, these guys can handle. So make sure you take a picture of that on the screen while it's still up, because these are the people that you want mowing your yard, helping you out with all that. And they're also doing a little painting these days. So is that interior and exterior, guys, or just one or the other?
Interior, exterior, we paint just about anything. We paint kitchen cabinets. We do staining. Like up in Washington, I think a lot of our work was painting. Yeah. I mean, we did a lot of remodeling and stuff, but there was painting on every single job.
Yep, we have a lot of references.
We do a lot of painting. Very good.
Well, that's great. Well, we implore you guys to give them a call, and we'll put it up one more time because we love Shariah and Ryan so much that we want to promote their business. They are the Little Family Landscaping. You can reach them at 850-791-9645. Once again, that's 850-791-9645. Give them a call. Collin, like you said, this is a story of redemption. This is a story of perseverance.
Yeah, it's a story of both of those, and it's also a story of deciding, right? A decision to change. So every one of us have a decision we're going to make today, one way or the other. We've talked about it before, Mark. Decision to sit on the couch and eat Cheetos, which may be okay sometimes, right? Advertising a decision to update your resume and send it out to people, a decision to start a business, a decision to open the Bible, to read a book. Everybody's making decisions. Some of them may not be the most impactful thing of your life, but you never know. And making those decisions can change your life.
Man, amen to that, Collin. And my dear brother Greg Becker says, good morning, everyone. I applaud Ryan and Shariah for making the necessary changes in their lives that they needed to make. So you got Summer Star says she's got Cheetos on her shirt right now. No, she says minus the Cheetos.
Minus the Cheetos.
Collin, I thought about you last night because I was watching Mulan with May, and I was eating these really good gluten-free, like crispy chocolate chip cookies, and man, I had crumbs all over my chest. So I was like thinking about Collin. I was like, man, I got cookie crumbs all over my chest. But yeah, man, you bring up so many good points, Collin. It's perseverance, redemption, making the decision to change their life. And so some of you that are watching now, some of you listening on replay, you may be feeling stuck. Like our dear brother Bruce Pulver says, you're not stuck. You just have to take the first step. You have to make a decision to get out of whatever it is that you're doing and move forward. If you want to quit your job, quit your job. I'm not saying doing that because it's a scary thing. It was very difficult for me, but I did it. If you want to start a business, start a business. You want to quit doing drugs, start right now. Make the decision. I'm not going to do that and go through the painful part, because here's what people miss, Collin. You have to do the work. Yeah. You can't just do it. I know you did the work, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot of work.
A lot of work.
A lot of work.
It's hard. It's scary. It's
a lot of ups and downs.
Yep.
We don't want to sugarcoat this, folks, but by their example, like seeing Ryan and Shariah right there, they did it. If they did it, if I can do it, if Collin can do it, you can do it too. So that's why we have Strike a Chord Live podcast, is to inspire you, it's to motivate you by these stories of people who have gone through things that are tougher than something you'll ever go through, and they made it. You can do it too.
Yep, you can.
Are you rolling your eyes, Collin?
No, I said, yeah. No, I wasn't rolling my eyes. It was not an intentional eye roll, if that's what I did.
You're like, here he goes again. He's on a tangent again. He's just doing his thing.
No. I would never do that.
Never. I'm kidding. Well, man, this has been great. Thank you guys so much. And let's go ahead and put up the banner one more time so people can see. Reach out to these beautiful souls. They will, I promise you, they will do great work for you. We got to have you on again because we want to hear the rest of the story. We want to hear what happens next.
Yes, we would love to. We thank you guys so much for having us on. You made us feel very comfortable, and this was a lot easier than I thought it would be.
Thank you.
Which is another key takeaway that I tell my daughter Morgan all the time. Baby, you're worrying about something that's never going to happen.
Right. Yeah, I tell her that all the time too.
It's all mindset, right, Collin?
What's that? I didn't hear you, man.
I said it's all mindset, right?
It is mindset, no doubt.
All right. Well, we thank y'all all you fine people out there. Thank you so much for listening and watching. Hey, if you are listening or watching on the hashtag replay, as the kids call it, would you drop a comment in there? Hashtag replay. We sure would appreciate it. Thank you, Ryan and Shariah. Love you guys. Love you, Collin. We will see you guys next time on another sensational session of Strike a Chord Live podcast with Collin, Harbour, and Marcus Ellis. We out, baby. We out. Where's the music? Cue the music. Let's go.